YouTube, what's up? Back again for another daily fishing video here on Andrew Upshaw Fishing. Getting ready for day one of the Bassmaster Open here on Lake Norman. And I'm just going to tell you guys, I'm kind of run into an issue. It's more of a decision type issue. You know, when you're watching this, the day's going to already be started. This is late at night. It's like almost midnight. And I'm still battling myself on where to start for the tournament. And I thought it was actually an interesting topic for a video because the deal is this is something that we deal with as anglers all the time. And it's actually a question I get a lot. And that is, how do you decide on where to start? You know, I was actually on a buddy of mine's podcast the other night, and that question came up. And like I said, I get it quite often. You know, how do you decide where to start? And in this particular situation, this is kind of one of those situations where I'm in where it's really tough. You know, am I going to start on a numbers place, or am I going to start on a big fish place? You know, currently I'm in 8th place in points. And I'm just going to tell you guys, it's really stressful. I'm extremely stressed out because I feel like this particular tournament in general could really make or break the season. Like, I mean, if I come in with 6 pounds, I'm going to be in 100 and something place. Could I catch up on day 2? Sure. But, I mean, the name of the game here is to catch 2-pounders and 5 of them a day, or maybe catch a 3 or 4-pounder. And so trying to figure out exactly what I'm going to do in this particular tournament is kind of difficult. So here's my 2 options. I can go catch consistent fish. I'm going to go in that particular stance. I'm going to go fish for schools of fish. You know, places where I've actually found schools of them, maybe on brush piles, bridge pilings, things like that, where I can catch numbers of fish. I'm gonna catch more, you know, pound, like 1.5s to 1.9s. Very consistent. Definitely more of the running the numbers game, basically. Or, on the other hand, I can take a chance. I can go fish where I didn't get as many bites. Not at all, really. I mean, I was getting 10 to 15 bites doing something else, and that was fishing for bigger ones. I felt like my average was better. I felt like my opportunity was for a big bag was better. But I also see, you know, that definitely could bite me in the butt. It's really hard when you're trying to make these decisions on the water. So the way I typically figure this, you know, issue out is I actually set goals for the tournament. You know, what is my goal when I go launch my boat? Is it, you know, is my goal to be consistent? Is my goal to win? Is my goal to catch up in points, or just to stay status quo? What is my goal going into the event? Because if somebody's just going to tell you that, man, I go out there to win every tournament, they don't fish this stuff enough. Because don't get me wrong, we all want to win every tournament. But to be consistent in Angler of the Year, which is what it's going to take to try to make the Bassmaster Elite Series, is to be consistent. That's the name of the game. Okay, so it sounds like the decision's easy. You know, go out there and catch as many 1.8, 1.9 pound bass as I can and let the cards fall where they may. But the problem is I'm about 60 or 70 points, I don't even know what it is, out of 3rd place. And I have to catch them because these guys have caught them the entire year. They haven't had a bad tournament. So I'm kind of in one of those situations where my goal is to do well, but to do really well. I need a top 20. I need a tournament that will help separate my points. I've had some really good tournaments this year in the 20s. Had some bad tournaments in the 80s. I'm sitting in 8th still. So I have that opportunity. So here's a look at my rods for day 1. I have, I want to say, about, I don't know. Let's see, there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. I've got 14 rods rigged. I've got another, I don't know, 3 or 4 rigged in the boat. Actually, 5 rigged in the boat. So that'll be a total of 19 rods at any given time I could be picking up to make a cast with. And some of you are going to sit there and say, man, you have spread yourself out way too much. And maybe you're right. I personally don't think I have, and the only reason I say I haven't is because on Lake Norman, there's a lot of things that you can do. You know, you're not stuck just doing the same thing every time. And that's actually what kind of makes this place a little special, is you can seriously catch a fish from 6 inches of water to 40 foot. And they're everywhere in between. So, you know, what this has allowed me to do is to be more positive and be more assertive, I guess you would say. Because what I can do is I can say, okay, if they're not biting out here in 35, I can go up there in 5, and maybe they're biting there. And if they're not biting in 5, I'll go out there into 15, 20 and fish a brush pile. And I can jump around and hit a bunch of different places, and that will help me be more successful. And this week, that's what I need to be. I need to be the guy that goes and catches a 3.5 to 4 pounder tomorrow, which I know where I'm fishing has the quality of fish, and I need to be able to put some stuff with it. So I'm going to actually take a two-prong approach. I'm going to fish where I feel like a limit is very easy or easier. You know, the quality is decent. It's not fantastic, but it's decent. And then I'm going to go try to catch a big one. I have a short day on day one, and that also plays into the cards of what is my goal in this particular event. You know, day 2, I get to weigh in at like 5:30, 5:45, so I'm going to have all day. And that's going to be the hardest day, especially on a lake like this. If you look at the results at this particular body of water, and there's other lakes like this one. Day 1, they catch them pretty decent. And when I say decent, there might be 30 bags over 10 pounds, which on some lakes, you're going to be like, man, that's awful. But here, that's a pretty average fall event. 30 to 40, around in that range. Mark my words, that's probably what it's going to be. Well, if that's what it is, on day 2, you can about divide that in half, and that's how many 10-pound bags there are going to be. So it's going to be exponentially tougher on day 2 as it was on day 1. You know, to see a guy like Brian Thrift, for instance, come out here and consistently catch them day after day after day after day, you know, he's not going out there and catching 12, 14, 15 pounds. He's 11 pounding them to death every time. So he's figured out a way to catch, and a lot of times 5 2+ pounders, and sometimes he just catches one big one and catches 4 just average fish. These are the kind of decisions that keep me up at night. I mean, I'm just being honest with you. And this is as real as it can be. You know, the stress of this year is super real. It has given me some of the most severe anxiety to get out here and fish. And don't get me wrong, I've fished big tournaments before. I've fished big events. There's something about this particular year that is just different. And I find it fitting that Grand Lake is the final event of the season, because Grand has always kind of been my nemesis. It's always been one of those places that I have a love-hate relationship with. Mostly hate. I like the lake. I like the way it looks. It has good bass in it. It just has always had my number. But I find it very fitting that that's the final event of the year, especially one that has given me so much trouble over the years. Don't get me wrong, I could go to Norman and finish 150th place, and it wouldn't be even matter at Grand, because it'd be irrelevant, because I would be almost out of it. No, thankfully, we've only had one Central event, and I finished 23rd in that one, so I'm still in it statistically in points, definitely in the Centrals. But it's definitely going to be a grinder last 3 events. I mean, you couldn't ask for a tougher 3. I mean, you got Norman in the fall. Norman is statistically a tough place. You got Smith Lake in the fall, which can be great, and it can be awful at the same time. And then you got Grand Lake in the fall, which, once again, can be really good or really bad. I really don't know which way this is going to go this year. I don't know the way the next 3 events are going to be. And as you're watching this, hopefully I'm catching 4-pounder, at least a 4-pounder. I really don't know how today's going to go. But when it comes to making decisions on the water, when it comes to trying to figure out your game plans, you got to set goals, guys. If you do that, you're going to be more successful in the water. And I promise you'll have more fun. I'm not having as much fun as I'd like to have right now, but I will. I've got my rods rigged. I got my boat ready and charged. I think I'm ready for tomorrow. Guys, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I hope it helps you the next time you're trying to figure out what and where you're going to fish and how you're going to fish and approach that particular day or that particular event. Set your goals. Be more successful in the water. Guys, I hope y'all enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on the next one.